This video will show you the candidate solutions that our group came up with in efforts to reduce refugee radicalization in America. We were tasked to generate some ideas on how to integrate refugees into the United States. Through systems thinking, we were able to establish the universe in which this system exists. Furthermore, we were able to move into the problem definition phase of the systems design process. We used stakeholder analysis and system requirements to redefine our problem statement. These steps led us to the solution design phase, where we now currently find ourselves, generating and screening multiple alternatives and candidate solutions. Once we generated numerous ideas and possibilities, we screened them through feasibility. Then, we used Wiki's morphological box to develop feasible solutions. Using key decisions derived from our research, we developed 3 candidate solutions. Our first solution is a refugee resistance plan. This plan will take 4 to 6 years. Each state will volunteer to take in refugees entering America. The local population will set up a system to monitor the progress of each refugee and report their status. Additionally, this plan has a humanitarian response option to radicalization. However, support programs will still be in place in efforts to reduce the risk of radicalization. Local and cultural outreach groups will support these refugees in settling in, providing networks to build relationships in their new environment. These support systems will allow a smooth transition for these refugees. Finally, this plan will be in place within federal, state, and local legal constraints.
Our second alternative solution is the Refugee Reinforcement Program, also known as the RRP. I will now inform you on the key decisions that have been made to implement this program. The RRP is expected to last between 2 to 4 years and will mandate state participation in the acceptance of refugees. The police and the National Guard will monitor the program. It will utilize diplomatic and kinetic responses to help reduce radicalization. The RRP requires government programs to provide support. The federal government will be there to create laws and regulations in order to help this program be successful. While this solution is not the cheapest, it is also not our most expensive to implement out of the 3 candidate solutions. To implement this plan would require just under $1 billion due to a greater amount of resources and networks to be needed as a startup cost. To enable local governments workers throughout the U.S. to be equipped with preventing radicalization of refugee personnel would require training, intelligence capabilities, response methods, force protection services that are outlined in our plan.
The third alternative solution we have selected is the Radicalization Prevention Option, RPO. RPO will take 6 to 8 years to fully implement. It will maintain the current voluntary state participation rate in the acceptance of refugees. The United States military and local populations will monitor the program. They will adjust the amount of funding it takes, the personnel it requires, and finally, the laws and regulations that will be in place if it should be flipped by the new presidential candidate that will be elected. It will require humanitarian, diplomatic, and military responses to assist in the reduction of radicalized groups that aim to impact and displace personnel throughout the world. RPO requires support from local community groups and personnel. This isn't an option that can exist holistically just through the U.S. military. The United States federal government will have to create laws on how we can govern and create opportunity within these regions that we aim to prevent radicalization through displaced personnel. Without doing so, how can we protect such organizations and groups if no other opportunity presents itself? Through feasibility screening and cost analysis, RPO as an option would cost approximately $2.1 billion due to the international requirements it would take to fund. These requirements consist of introducing 10 additional foreign area officers to any of the 294 U.S. embassies throughout the world. These additional foreign area officers would be in place in heavier areas where we feel that radicalization is occurring at a higher rate amongst refugee populations. With the addition of these FAOs to the United States embassies, their focus would be extending influence throughout local populations in order to dissuade local groups from harboring radicalized ideologies towards the United States. The average salary of a foreign area officer is $78,000 a year. This system would look to operate with roughly 1,000 foreign area officers additionally on top of the ones that are already in place. By aiming to prevent radicalization abroad, the system in which we currently use to allow refugees to immigrate into the United States could benefit from the prevention of radicalized groups reaching these refugees before the United States government can allow their immigration process to begin. By combating the message before its inception within the refugee's mind, these foreign area officers can prevent a large amount of dissuasion towards harmful ideology that could be used against the United States in the future. That, in summary, is RPO.